Jimmie Foxx played every position except second base in his 20-year career, even pitching in 10 games. His 1935 Diamond Stars release shows him as a catcher for the Philadelphia A's. In this picture, it seems he is ready to pick up the ball out of his glove and deliver back to an unseen pitcher. He might still be in a crouched position based on the visibility of his pant legs. I like the glove and chest protector, primitive in their look. His face is clearly shown due to no mask. Perhaps he's just about to start his duties for a new inning and wasn't ready to don it yet. Huge wrists and forearms prove his strength and would make one understand how he's still 19th on the all-time home run list. The background shapes let the slugger's image come through, and their colors do not clash with his uniform. A most important card in the set, and a player who collectors should own at least one card of. We stay with the 1935 Diamond Stars and get an even better action shot from a catcher in Al Lopez. There's so much going on in this card it makes me wish I was in attendance for that game. Was this action happening at Ebbets Field, where Al called home for 7 years? We don't see the umpire, and only have a glimpse of the batter's hands and bat, but realize that a pitch has just been tipped into foul territory. Or is it just within the Diamond's field of play? Lopez has quickly thrown off his mask, ready to record a putout. The mask is still in mid-flight, and Lopez has his hands ready to underhand the ball. The pennant flags atop the stadium show a brisk wind that may have resulted in a cool temperature for play. Notice Al's long sleeves. Again, simple colors lay out the seating, dirt around the grass, and the field itself. The yellow lets me believe it's quite sunny. Perhaps the game is being played around mid-afternoon due to the shadows of the catcher and unknown hitter. You can draw up your own theories, but you can't deny the awesomeness of this card. Staying in a horizontal format, Goudy's release in 1933 also has creamy pastel colors and simple lines drawn to illustrate space. This image of two-time MVP Carl Hubbell shows him tossing to the plate with the sun almost directly in his eyes. Is he getting a new ball or just warming up? There doesn't seem to be much force in his follow-through. The dirt has been roughed up some and the grass cut to a proper height. He alone is the star of this card, one of two he has in the set, the other being a portrait. The uniform flows freely across his imposing 6-foot-tall frame. The stirrups and undershirt sleeve look to be a bit more red than we're used to seeing on Giants gear. This is another set full of images you have to slowly examine to learn about, and this one of the King does it for me. What hasn't been said about the Mick in the nearly 7 decades since his arrival? The iconic 1956 Topps set has so many beautiful things about each card that makes collectors want to acquire them. Simple colors in the nameplate, 2 shots on each front, and a virtual who's who of talent. Mantle is in the prime of his career at this point, and I would venture to say that it is his 3rd most popular Topps card, behind the 1952 and 1953. His bright smile goes beyond the boyish charm fans were introduced to some 5 seasons earlier, as displayed prominently along with the sharp-fitted cap in his portrait. The red and yellow across the card's upper left corner pair well with the rest of the somewhat muted white and blue hues. It's the action shot in the back that fans have been buzzing about since its release. Mick had roamed center field in Yankee Stadium the majority of his career. Here he is looking to rob a hitter of a home run. Is that the ball in his glove, or a hole between the webbing? Did he or will he make the catch? The 3 fans on the right side above Mick's right ear are looking in a different direction than where the action is. Apparently there is a difference from the original photo used to create this card. Those fans were cut and moved from the left side to make the stadium seats seem filled and give Mantle center stage with his image. I still don't know where that ball wound up. From one Yankee center fielder to the legend he replaced. The Yankee Clipper is shown here on one of the most popular of the 1941 Play Ball series. First off, notice his nickname in quotes at the bottom. Was he known around the park only as Joseph? Most cards in this set have players' nicknames printed in the same manner. We know his name, and now we are familiar with his swing, which is so beautifully captured. Joe might be taking warm-ups on the on-deck circle. No one else dares to be near him. The purple back could be a stadium wall. The three colors shown, purple, green, and yellow, align perfectly with his slender figure. Even the lines drawn to separate each hue are so simply formed so as not to distract from the player. His uniform flows in motion with the action, and his face is in work mode, even bearing bright white teeth. His body is centered as a tribute to the greatness, and just think this card was released in 1941. No one had any idea what the upcoming season had in store for us all. I cannot think of any rookie card whose player's face suggests that his card is one to own more than Henry Aaron's in 1954. The bright orange background and large portraits scream at me to be looked upon in card shows and individual collections, even though I own one myself. Milwaukee's logo of a brave is looking towards the hammer, so the card itself has a linear quality, with your eyes fixed on an imaginary diagonal line that runs from top right to bottom left. Awaiting those following eyes is another photo of the legend, this one an action shot of him fielding a ground ball. It might be from warm-ups before a contest. The fact that the smaller images in the 1954 top set were black and white delivers an acceptable taste to our palate. Too much color would busy the card and not make any of it enjoyable. The facsimile autograph isn't hidden, but does not disrupt the gray uniform. The cap hosts a crisp white M within a blue body, and you see just enough of the red brim to satisfy our curiosity as to the team colors. The shadow angle under his brim brings just enough light to Mr. Aaron's forehead. Back to our friend up top, the logo seems almost too large for the vertical layout, but the headdress has so much detail you'll want to explore it time and again. Guilty as charged. Speaking of orange, well, there's a reason or two why this card is number one. The Splendid Splinter bookends the 1954 top set. His yellow card, number 250, is bright and shows a big smile directed right to the cameraman. The last card is growing on me, with the red logo and blue cap complementing the yellow backing. But I always had a connection with the orange from this first card, his bat staying straight and true with his follow-through on the action shot. The logo here sort of disappears, being so close in color to the background, but that isn't a bad thing. You want to focus on the player. On the wider shot, also showing him in a good mood, Ted Williams' trusted companion is softly resting on his left shoulder, always on the ready to give a pitcher or two some nightmares. What a wonderful image to welcome us into such a classic set. There have been a multitude of nicknames given to players through the years, but none capture the essence of a performer more than the man. Stan Musial seems so cool and relaxed here, smiling in the dugout, arms folded and large hands taking a break from gripping lumber. Perhaps it's the confidence in knowing he is master of the bat rack that sits behind him. Maybe he's enjoying an amusing story with teammates prior to a ball game. The red birds on his uniform are peeking from the shirt creases. Classic gray flannel and red stripes grab your attention, and the green paneling in the background does not steal the show. Another key in enjoying this set is the fact that Bowman did not print text on the card fronts and kept the white borders narrow. Lots of real estate to show off large player poses or action shots. This is one of 3 cards from the same set that I just can't get enough of. Here's another great looking uniform. Warren Spahn's shot from the same Bowman set just explodes at you. His follow-through not as imposing as seen from the batter's box, mostly due to knowing this is just a moment in time. Like the 54 Aaron, a similar style cap, in this case the white letter a bold B, as the Braves franchise was still in Boston and a year away from their move to Milwaukee. Spahn is obviously posing, but his eyes are fixed on a specific target as they would be during a game. His flannel jersey fits him just right. We can make out most of the number 2 from his 21 on the back, and half of the team name in cursive on front. But it's the patch that calls out after you take your gaze away from his cap and eyes. The bold Indian face and headdress, you can count each feather and take in the green and yellow colors. His line of sight draws straight across the card to Warren's glove. Look at how small it is. It looks as if it might take a while to get one's hand inside. Moving even more to the left, and On the very edge of the photo, we notice a teammate's elbow and shirt sleeve sticking out. I wonder who it could be, but have no doubt about how attractive this card is. One more look at the 53 Bowmans, and this is one of the first vintage cards I remember when discovering the hobby all those years ago. Harold Henry Reese is an important part of Dodgers history and the team's success in the 1950s. Affectionately known as Pee-wee, the infielder helped bridge the uneasiness in fans accepting Jackie Robinson as part of the game. Here he is, shown in my all-time favorite action shot on a baseball card. It's at a spring training game and is the only horizontal card in this set. You can't read the advertisements on the outfield wall billboards, but can see the trees beyond peering over to break up the Dodger blue sky. This image seems to be staged, since there are no outfielders, and the base runner looks to have on a Dodger uniform himself. We can't make out his uniform number in full, nor see his face. This could have been done on purpose. Pee-wee looks to be about 4 feet in the air, attempting to turn a double play. Notice his shadow in the infield to the left of the runner. When you see a near mint or better example of this card, the red sleeves on Reese really pop. We see his face, jersey name, glove, and truly want to know how this play ends up. I don't believe the sky is actually overcast. The play might have been photographed with a special filter. The entire card has a black feathered edging, as if to give the middle a spotlight of its own. It truly deserves one. Lastly, the best looking card I've ever come across. To those not familiar with it, or collecting in general, this might not even seem like a baseball card. But it is, and it showcases one of the game's greatest stars ever. In 1914 and 1915, Cracker Jack candied snacks inserted cards within their boxes, and not part of the box panels as were done in the 90s. Most cards that were packaged this way were victim to the food's molasses coating staining their thick card stock. Cards free of such distractions are beautiful, as white borders complement a solid red background. Here is Christy Mathewson, member of the first Hall of Fame class, World Series hero, and third all-time in victories. His portrait can only be described as majestic, the buttons and collar of his jersey looking nothing like today's. He was a handsome man who used his looks and manners to gain an audience in vaudeville acts during the off-season for supplemental income. Here he poses with no cap, his hair cut and styled as if posing for an advertisement. A hue accentuates his cheeks and blends nicely with the red back. The text up top is styled in a classy font and doesn't interfere with the photo. A clean single line of print below gives just enough information to let fans and enthusiasts alike aware of who he is. If only we can share with everyone on our discoveries of all these attractive cards.